Motorhead Garage, the program that each week introduces you to and shows you how to install the latest in exciting and innovative products for your vehicle. Now here's your host, Dave Dobson.
This is Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com. Now we all love to go, but we all need to stop. Now brakes are such an important part of the equation when it comes to any vehicle, Boris. At BrakeX, how do you approach making brakes differently from the other OEM manufacturers out there?
Yeah, so we believe that the quality of your brakes should never be compromised, and being able to stop is really just the baseline of our products. And on top of that, there's the level of control you get, the amount of confidence you have whenever you need to stop your vehicle, and then there's pad life, there's sustainability and everything.
So how do you build your brakes that makes them different?
Yep. So when you look at our rotors over here, all of them are made of what we call a carbon-induced formula. The amount of carbon that they have inside the rotors are 10% higher than what you usually get in the market, except of those what we call high carbon.
And a high carbon brake would be something for a racing application.
Yeah.
But this is for an OEM replacement application here.
Yes.
So what does a higher carbon content do for you?
It holds your rotors a little structure a little bit better than others. It's more stretchable. It's more resistant to cracks, and helps performance, and your rotors do not wrap in extreme temperatures.
And the extreme temperatures are the enemy of brakes when it comes to expanding and contracting, so you've kind of steeled these against that. And let's talk about the different models you have here. This is sort of a basic OEM replacement, and we're talking about value here. This is with all the brakes you made. You're talking about bang for the buck here. So these are a high quality brake. How is this one different from the standard OEM replacement?
Yeah, so material-wise, they're all the same. This one is coated. It's fully what we call geomet coated, so it's fully rust-proof. Hub bearings and the outside part, wherever your brake pads are not gonna be in contact with, is protected by the coating.
Gotcha, and it's just a cooler looking brake for those who maybe are not putting it on a work vehicle or a daily driver or something like that.
Yeah.
Very good. And then moving down the line here, we've got a drilled rotor. What are the advantages of that?
So these guys, the drilled holes really helps getting the heat wave away from your rotors, and they cool down a little bit faster than all other kinds of rotors.
And the slotted rotors, sort of the same concept?
Yeah, it's sort of the same concept, but on top of that, there's these slots. They kind of work like a blade. They pierce through your brake pad, so you get a little bit extra stopping power.
A little extra grip the way they're curved like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. With your brakes, it's not just what goes into them, it's what you like to keep out of them. What are a couple of the elements you want to make sure there's not a whole lot of in here?
Yeah, so the leading cause of cracks in your brake rotors are sulfur and phosphorus, and we strictly control those two compounds in the metal in less than 0.2%.
How does that compare with other brakes that are out there?
We all usually try to really control it to less than 0.2%, but the level of deviation in other manufacturers are higher. So we are very strict in that element.
And now let's talk about the pads here. This is more of a racing application here. These pads, in fact, you're a racer yourself. Yeah. So you've applied all of that knowledge to making brakes and brake pads here. So what are some advantages of BrakeX's pads? So
all of our brake pads, no matter if it's a racing line or if it's OE replacement, they are baked, what we call the heat treated. They're baked after they are formed, and what it does is this friction material part of the pads is going to bond better with the backing plate, so it doesn't fall off, it doesn't crack after periods that you use.
And I don't know how many times I've taken a brake off and that just falls right off the backing plate. And it's because of all that heat and all the heat and cooling and everything. So this is this adds to the integrity and adds to the life of the brakes as well. And you guys thought of details too. You have the OEM replacement pads over there, and these are the clips that hold them on. These look a lot beefier, a lot different from the ones I see when I get brakes out of the auto parts store.
Yeah. So a lot of people actually they wanted to reuse their OEM clips instead of using those that comes with the brakes that they use for replacement. But that's something we're in mind too. These comes fully stainless, and they fit your car with no issue.
When we get over to the OEM replacement type pads, there's one little detail that you've paid attention to that I think is very, very cool, and it's the shim on the back. How is that different from others I might find?
Yeah, so when you look at our shims, Actually, you can touch it and you can feel it.
Yep.
This part, and the back part, these are rubbers. Wrapped in the middle is a piece of steel, and that's also fully stainless. So these are the magic that does to the pads and make sure it's silent.
Okay, cool. So the noise reduction, that's a big part.
It's
With
fully
brakes, it
silent.
can be really irritating.
Yeah, because without these, they're going to be squeaking. They're going to be running around your caliper. And with these on, it's going to stick.
You guys thought of everything. We know some of our friends in Canada are watching. How popular are you in Canada?
So we are the #1 bestseller on Amazon.ca for brake kits. So brake pads, brake rotors.
Get some brakes from BrakeX and find out why the folks from Canada know what they are talking about. Brake-X.com for braking at its excellence. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, so don't go anywhere. Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, Shade Wagon, throw some shade, and by DragonFireTools.com, industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. Here at Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, we're always telling you about cool things for UTVs like this one, ATVs, motorhomes, trucks, passenger cars. And all these vehicles are great as long as you have traction. Of course, traction is king. If the wheels are spinning, you're not going anywhere. Now, Carl, until now, you've had those traction ramps with the teeth. You can put them under the tire, but they spit out as soon as you start spinning the tires. Shovels, the other option. Or you're waiting for a tow truck for hours or days if they come to where you are. And you've found all this to be true, so you came up with a solution. It's called InstaTraction. How does it work?
Basically how it works, you take the steel piece, put it on top of your tire, you run a ratchet strap through it, through the rim, ratchet it tight, and when you start to drive, it grabs and moves you forward. You can get going again.
Simple as that. We'll talk about the installation in a minute. Let's talk about the construction. How durable is this?
Well, this is 4 pounds of steel. It's heavy duty, it won't break.
And the straps you're using?
Straps we're using are 12,000 plus braking strength. They're about as strong as you're going to get for straps. They work well.
And we talked about the other ways to get unstuck. And the old traction ramps, those are big and bulky, and they're hard to take with you. These fold up nice and small.
Well, this is a little 9x9 box. It's easy to take along. It weighs 12 pounds. Throw it underneath your seat. It's never like it's going to be in the way at all. It's simple.
This is in use all over Canada and the US. And who's out there using them?
A lot of guys that go ice fishing, hunting, semi-truck drivers, off-road type vehicles, they're all using these vehicles. Guys that get stuck in the back lane, garbage trucks, all that type of industry use them. Truck drivers have to worry about their electronic logs now. This will help alleviate wasting time, having to pay overtime to the drivers. They can get going again right away.
Also, some folks using specialty vehicles have ordered the InstaTraction as well.
Fire trucks, school buses, all these emergency vehicles, ambulances, it's a great thing to have with you.
You don't just have to listen to Carl. He invented a thing. You can listen to the folks that are actually using InstaTraction. CB lives in Manitoba, and InstaTraction has gotten CB out of trouble a couple of times. 5 out of 5 stars there. Glenn Ward purchased 2 of these about a month ago and has already used them twice to get himself moving forward. He's a trucker, and he says these things work great. And Ricky Porter says these really work. Hands down, the best tool for getting your semi-truck unstuck. Such a simple concept, but amazing. All right, installation couldn't be simpler here, Carl. Let's take a look over here on the truck. I guess before we get to the installation, let's talk about the construction here. This is the big gripper. So the webbing on this is extra special. It's not a standard ratchet strap.
We got a stronger than normal webbing. It's over 12,000 pounds tearing. We got the sides here for helping with strength on the side tears.
And the block on here, this is something folks were asking for, and you delivered.
Yep, we have a new block now we put between the spokes on the rims. So if the strap does slip, it won't cut, and that makes it stronger. If not, if your rims spokes are too close together, I would suggest you cut this block down lengthwise a bit to make it narrower so it will fit between.
All right, and let's talk about putting it on here. I'll let you do the honors here. You throw it over the top here, and you're going to thread this through. And by the way, you don't have to just rely on us. You can find videos on your website, and these come with instructions as well. I've done it, and if I can handle a ratchet strap, you can handle a ratchet strap, believe me.
Put your block between the spokes on the rim here, like this. Pull your ratchet in tight. Make sure the block's still in the right place. Then you should be good to go.
And that's it. And then you mentioned if it's a lower profile tire, you can just keep this open like that if
Yep.
you need to, and that'll keep it from contacting the ground as well. I know a lot of folks may say, won't that scratch my rims if I put the ratchet right against it? But some of the models of Instant Traction actually come with a pad as well.
Yes, some of the 2-inch models do come with a pad, and that should solve a lot of that problems if you're worried about scratching your rim.
And then this is, the Instant Traction's used, you're not driving down the road with this.
No, you just get out. If you only have to move 5 feet, you take it off. It's just to get you out. Don't drive with it.
And believe me, that is not going anywhere. It's Instant Traction. You can find it at instanttraction.com. It is patented and it is made in North America. It's a great insurance policy. Get one for your vehicle. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonFireTools.com, so don't go anywhere.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon Studio.
Now imagine 500 horsepower going through this pinion over to the ring gear. Now that has to transfer 90 degrees out to the wheels and down to the pavement. Not to mention the axles turning at different speeds because the outside has to go further than the inside, so they're going to go at different speeds. And listen to this. Dry bearings, not a good thing. Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. It's all about the differential. And you can see here, there's the actual pinion I was driving, the ring gears, and the spider gears down there. Now the only thing between those two gears is lubrication. That's going to be key. You can see it right here. I have the pinion coming in, driving the ring gear. So that's spinning around. Now inside of here, if I pull this pin out, you can see in here, these are called spider gears and side gears. And all these are rubbing together as you turn a corner to go those different speeds. Now what's in there is fluid, and if you ever did a fluid change, you know how hard that can be. You actually go to put the fluid in there, and man, it's going all over the place. This one's easy to access. Imagine if that plug was up top where you couldn't even get to it. You see the fluids all over, and then what? You can't even get it halfway empty. So what do? Take the other one, fill it back up so you can get the angle. Well, that's not the case with AMSOIL, man. They're easy pack. Nothing to it. Is it just that easy? Yeah, it is. You put it in there, squeeze it, you're good to go. Now, you guys got me sold with the Easy Pack alone, but it's much more than that. That fluid's pretty complex.
Right, we consider the Easy Pack kind of just a cherry on top to make that job easier, but really the magic happens in the fluid. The unique thing about a differential is the wiping action that's actually taking place between that pinion and that ring gear. And you did a good job of describing it earlier, but what you're seeing there is the fluid gets stuck between those gear teeth, and the way that works is you find this wiping action. That's where your extreme pressure additives come into play. You need to put a certain additive in there that activates on that surface to deal with that wiping action. Otherwise, all the oil gets wiped away and you get wear, or you get pitting, and you get all that noise that we were talking about earlier.
Now another thing is they call them limited slip. There's really no posi-track, but sometimes you have clutches and all kinds of things in there as well, and your manufacturer recommends an additive. You have that as well?
We do. Our slip lock additive is designed for that. The frictional characteristics of the gear lube aren't such that you could get notchiness or you could get jerkiness, so a lot of manufacturers will recommend an additive, and we have the slip lock that'll smooth that right out like butter.
Yeah, well, the Easy Pack has me sold, that's for sure. It's driving me to their website. Now imagine that great packaging with the best lubrication you can get. Truly a win-win. Just go to amsoil.com and find out for yourself.
My name is Chris Gall. This is my 1970 Olds Delta 88 Royale. The Royales were, pretty unique from a number of reasons. Came automatically with the big block 455, special back window that has kind of a limo window in it, Cadillac door handles, vents on the fenders, relocated script to the rear quarter, special brocade interior on the seats. This one happens to have the rare bucket seat option, tilt, cruise control. It's got the rim below steering wheel, so the horn is in the edge of the rim of the steering wheel and a rubber strip. Everything works, so it was a loaded car. I couldn't pass it up. This is a factory turbo 400 with a shift kit in it. I've seen 4 of them in 30 years. You can go to a Cars and Coffee with this car and be assured that you'll be the only one there. People remember these cars, but nobody saved them. It's a pretty unique vehicle. We inherited my grandmother's four-door version of this car when I was a little kid, and it made an impression because it would plaster us to the back seat whenever Dad passed a car, so I ended up getting one when I was of age. So this car has all steel rubber products, new seals in it around the windows, doors, trunk lid, all that came from here, and I don't know where else I would have gotten it, frankly, because they do all that stuff custom. They send you a custom catalog for it. I don't know where you ever get something for a more obscure car like this that isn't a Camaro or a Mustang. Because you've got an expensive interior, and in a lot of cases, you can't even get the stuff that's inside of this car. Nobody reproduces it. So you don't want water all over it every time you go through the car wash, that's for sure.
Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. Industrial workbenches with integrated tool storage. And brought to you by PaintedAutoBodyParts.com, the leading U.S. auto body parts online store.
All right, I've got one for you. A nuclear scientist, a college instructor, and a defense contractor walk into a television studio. All right, it's not a joke, it actually just happened. This is Pasha Radenko, and he is with Tribotex. It's something you're going to love. Tell us what it is.
So Tribotex, it's a result of my PhD work at Washington State University that based on nanotechnology, and we call it dumbest possible artificial intelligence. Let me break it down for you. If you would say in the future had a nanobot and you would tell that nanobot to go swim in the engine and fix, let's say, play in the bearing, what the nanobot would do? It would grab a small amount of material, swim into the engine, attach it to a surface, swim back and repeat, right? We did exactly just that, but with as little of intelligence as possible. Let me explain how it is. So we made flat nanoparticles that have chemically and functionally different sides. One side is sticky and another is slippery. So when the nanoparticles attach to the surface, they only attach by sticky side and expose slippery side. So sticky side reinforces the surface and strengthen it, and slippery side protect it from the future damage. And interestingly enough, when many of those particles attach particle by particle, they're going to attach in random pattern, forming porous structure. And that porous structure is thick enough to compensate for the wear that was accumulated for decades of the functioning of the mechanism. So we used that technology and simplified it for the everyday consumer to be used in engines, gearboxes, power steering pumps, rear differentials, front differentials, all kinds of the mechanisms that are lubricated by regular lubricants that over time wear out, that need some attention. So we went and asked several government agencies, would you be interested in us bringing this technology to the market? And National Science Foundation funded us to build the production capacity. And after that, we had a lot of material, but we didn't have customers. So we decided, how are we gonna bring it to the market? We put it on Kickstarter, then on Indiegogo, blow out our initial goals, and then Amazon, eBay. Now we bring it to retailers. So we just happy with the results.
All right, so the Air Force uses Tribotex, and big industry uses this. What can Tribotex do for me on my little car at home?
Every car over time wears out, and spherical bearings become elliptical at times. So you get little play and you hear it as an extra noise. So when this noise happens, the more particles get delivered into that little gap, and they build a layer particle by particle, so your bearings effectively shrink. So you rebuild engine without disassembly, just with the syringe of Tribotex. That's one part of it. But that coating is not just thick and protective. It is also more lubricious than the material was before. So the bearing becomes more efficient. That reduces heat and reduces a little bit fuel consumption. Overall, those benefits are very useful for everyone who can keep their car longer and retain efficiency over long term.
How quickly am I going to notice the results once I put Tribotex in?
That's a very good question. The first difference in noise you will hear about 15 minutes in, and we want you to wait for those 15 minutes so the material get dispersed over time pretty well. But the real benefits happens when the cylinders and rings get coated, and this is just slow splash lubrication within the motor, so it takes longer. It takes about 10 motor hours, and we call it about 500 miles. So when those got coated, then you start realizing benefits of better fuel consumption and lower heat rejection into coolant. So the temperature of engine goes down again by a little bit.
Well, if you want to see more, you can check them out on their website at tribotex.com. If you want to be the paintedautoparts.com Motorhead of the Week, just go to motorheadgarage.tv. Tell us your story. Tell us why you or someone you know is deserving of the honor. And this week's honoree, Bob the Wizard Osmond, for the second time here on Motorhead Garage. When we last left our hero, he was a 3-time Enduro champion at Irwindale Speedway. Osmond started from scratch in 2024 with a brand new race car, and it didn't take long for him to get it all sorted out. The Wizard took home 11 wins on the season and his 4th Enduro Series championship. Don't mess with Bob the Wizard Osmond. He's a great racer, a great guy, and a 2-time paintedautoparts.com Motorhead of the Week. If you have a product you just need to show the world, you can email me, dave@motorheadgarage.tv. We'll get you right here in the studio. We've got more great products for your vehicle coming up when we do this again next week on Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonFireTools.com. We'll see you then.